to exist upon this planet.
I mean, birds just don't go around attacking people without no reason.
Keep telling you this isn't a few birds, these are gulls.
Birds poisoned from shellfish causing erratic behavior? Can't make that up. It really happened, and a movie was made about it. Today, us humans are at risk of being poisoned, and the FDA has issued a warning.
A warning tonight if you enjoy eating shellfish. The FDA is warning consumers not to eat it if it's from the Pacific Northwest because some may be contaminated with toxins that cause paralytic shellfish poisoning.
Hey there, moody foodies and seafood lovers. If you're into foraging your own shellfish, you might want to hit pause on that weekend mussel harvest.
What? Oh, come on, man.
Why? Well, the California Department of Fish and Wildlife just dropped a pretty important warning. Avoid sport-taken shellfish in Santa Barbara County. We're talking about those clams, mussels, and scallops you might be eyeing on your next trip to the beach. Turns out, wild shellfish can pack a little more than just ocean flavor.
Stuffed clams, thank you. The size of them. Looks like some dog shat in my shell.
They can contain something called domoic acid. And trust me, you do not want that in your next seafood feast. We are going to tell you what domoic acid is, symptoms if you consume it, how to avoid it, and a bit of pop culture movie facts to get a full-length film. The warning explained. So let's break down what this warning is all about. If you're out there gathering mussels, clams, or scallops for fun, this is for you. These tasty little bivalves might be hiding a secret, domoic acid. Never heard of it? No worries, it's not exactly a household name, but it should be on your radar. Domoic acid is a naturally occurring toxin that these shellfish can absorb from algae. Now, here's the kicker. This toxin can lead to something called amnesic shellfish poisoning, or ASP for short. The symptoms range from a bad case of food poisoning to, in extreme cases, memory loss or even death. Yeah, it's that serious. And the worst part? Cooking doesn't get rid of it. So even if you think you're whipping up a safe seafood dish, you could still be in for a rough ride if those shellfish are contaminated. So, a simple way to avoid domoic acid. Don't eat shellfish in any month that ends in R. Sounds quirky, right? But it actually makes a lot of sense. We'll get to that in a minute. And while this warning was issued August 14th, 2024, months ending in R is flexible and repeats yearly. Symptoms of domoic acid poisoning. So, what happens if you accidentally chow down on shellfish with domoic acid? Let's talk symptoms, because knowing what to look for can make a big difference. In mild cases, you might start feeling pretty lousy within 30 minutes to 24 hours. We're talking nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and some stomach cramps that'll make you wish you skipped that seafood dinner. You could also get a headache, feel dizzy, and just generally unwell. These symptoms are no fun, but they usually clear up on their own after a few days. But here's where things get scarier. In more severe cases, domoic acid poisoning can take a serious turn. You might experience confusion, disorientation, and even trouble breathing. It can lead to seizures, cardiovascular problems, and if that wasn't enough, a permanent loss of short-term memory. Hence the name amnesic shellfish poisoning. In the worst scenarios, it can lead to coma or death. That's why it's crucial to recognize these symptoms early. If you start feeling any of these after eating shellfish, don't wait. Get medical help right away. The sooner you act, the better your chances of avoiding the more severe consequences. It's better to be safe than sorry when it comes to something this serious. Commercial versus recreational shellfish. Now you might be thinking, but I buy shellfish from the store all the time. Should I be worried? Good news. If you're sticking to commercial shellfish, you're in the clear. Here's why. Recreational shellfish harvesting is a bit like the Wild West. No one's out there testing your catch for toxins, and that's where the risk comes in. Those clams and mussels you pick up on the beach might look delicious, but they could be harboring dangerous levels of toxins, making them far riskier to eat. On the flip side, commercially sold shellfish, like those you find at your local market or seafood restaurant, go through rigorous testing before they ever hit your plate. These guys are monitored constantly for toxins like domoic acid, ensuring they're safe to eat. So when you buy from a reputable source, you can munch away without a second thought. Historical context and annual patterns. Let's take a quick trip down memory lane. Domoic acid warnings aren't exactly new. They've been a part of the shellfish harvesting scene for quite some time. Back in the day, before official warnings were a thing, seasoned harvesters had their own rule of thumb. Don't eat shellfish in any month that ends in R. Why this rule? Well, it turns out that domoic acid levels tend to spike during the late summer and fall, around September through December. These months coincide with algal blooms, which is when shellfish are most likely to absorb high levels of this toxin. Hence, the AR month rule became a handy way for folks to remember when it's safer to pass on those wild mussels or clams. Fast forward to today, and we've got science backing up what those old-timers knew all along. Domoic acid levels still follow these seasonal patterns, with heightened risk during the late summer and fall. So, even with all the modern testing, it's smart to keep those old guidelines in mind if you're out there harvesting shellfish on your own. Bivalves in pop culture. Here's a fun twist. Domoic acid poisoning has actually made its mark on pop culture too. Ever heard of the classic horror movie The Birds? Yep, the one where flocks of birds suddenly go berserk and start attacking people. Turns out the chilling story behind that film might have roots in a real-life case of domoic acid poisoning. Back in the 60s, a coastal town in Northern California experienced something truly bizarre. Seabirds, disoriented and confused, were crashing into buildings and causing all sorts of chaos. The likely culprit? Those birds had feasted on fish contaminated with domoic acid, leading to their erratic behavior. This strange event caught the attention of writer Daphne du Maurier, whose story became the basis for Alfred Hitchcock's iconic film. It's a great example of how real events can inspire art. Hitchcock took that unsettling episode and turned it into a full-blown thriller, reminding us that sometimes truth really is stranger than fiction. So next time you watch The Birds, remember, it's not just a story, but a cautionary tale about the hidden dangers lurking in our oceans. Safe shellfish consumption tips. All right, so how can you keep enjoying your favorite shellfish without the risk? It's simpler than you might think. First off, the safest bet is to stick with commercially sourced shellfish. These come from reputable dealers who regularly test their products for toxins like domoic acid. So, whether you're picking up some clams for chowder or oysters for a special dinner, buying from the store ensures you're getting something safe. But what if you're really craving that fresh, straight-from-the-ocean experience during those risky R months? Consider alternatives like farm-raised shellfish, which are also subject to strict safety standards. Or, if you're into foraging, focus on other ocean delights like fish or crab, which aren't affected by domoic acid the way bivalves are. Remember, enjoying seafood is all about knowing what's safe and when. A little caution goes a long way in keeping your seafood adventures both delicious and danger-free. We've got several videos covering hidden toxins in foods and current FDA recalls, so if you found this helpful, definitely give those a watch. We've covered the hidden dangers of domoic acid in recreational shellfish, from the serious health risks to the quirky old rules about avoiding them during certain months. Whether it's mussels, clams, or scallops, knowing the risks associated with wild-caught shellfish, especially during late summer and fall, is crucial. Remember, those tasty bivalves can harbor a toxin that doesn't just ruin your day, it can have severe, even life-threatening consequences. The good news? By sticking to commercially sourced shellfish, you can enjoy your seafood without the worry. So, whether you're a seasoned forager or just love a good seafood dish, it's all about being informed and making smart choices. Thanks for tuning in. If you found this information helpful, make sure to share it with your fellow seafood enthusiasts. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Stay safe, stay informed, and enjoy your seafood responsibly.